The Chicago Bulls face off tonight versus the Atlanta Hawks, and they are trying to go 3-0 on the season. I have a matchup that we all want to see on our road on the path to get to 3-0. Then we got an injury update regarding Josh Giddey. And last thing, is the Bulls bench deeper than what we expected? Y'all know we gonna talk about it, break it all down, but you gotta hit the music first.
Cognac, gang.
Shy Bulls podcast with the Cognac Boys. I'm Cognac Boy Bobby, and I'm holding it down on another daily episode on Shy Bulls podcast. So if you're tuned in, love talking that Bulls basketball and trying to root this team on and see what they can bring for the season. Lock in, hit that like button, and subscribe to the channel. But hey, the Chicago Bulls are now 2-0 at the start of the season. It is still early in the season, and there is still some things that the Chicago Bulls need to work on to improve on as the season continues. But man, we are in a solid spot. Not a great spot, but a solid spot to start the season. And hopefully the Chicago Bulls can take it up another notch as we get ready to face the Atlanta Hawks, then see the Sacramento Kings, then see the New York Knicks, I believe next week. So we got work to do, but hey, tonight we talk about the Atlanta Hawks and the Chicago Bulls facing off versus them. Right now, the Atlanta Hawks are 1-2 on the season, but I'm here to talk about a matchup that we all want to see, and I'm pretty sure that you all will agree. Trying to rhyme, we ain't do what I do, but nonetheless, a matchup that we all want to see, and I'm pretty sure that you all will agree. Matas Buzelis versus Zaccharie Risacher. In the comment box, do you want to see this matchup versus Matas Buzelis and Zaccharie Risacher? Yes or no? Let me know. Here's why I'm interested in it. Here's why I want to see this matchup. Because in that draft, Matas Buzelis at one point was viewed as the for sure #1 overall pick. Then came Zaccharie Risacher, who got selected #1 overall to the Atlanta Hawks. And even after that, my man's Matas Buzelis came out and was talking greasy, talking crazy, whatever you want to say. He was talking about Zaccharie Risacher and letting everybody know he ain't a better basketball player than me. He ain't better at life than me. I know y'all didn't heard me say it before. I even alluded to it after on the post game after the Bulls, got that victory over on Orlando Saturday, and said, "Bro, I'm really want to see this because I don't think we seen these two guys match up yet. If they did, it wasn't a lot of action. Now, I will mention that Zaccharie Risacher is day to day and pretty much questionable for the game tonight. So there's not a strong chance that Zaccharie Risacher will go out there dealing with the ankle injury right now. But I'm hoping and I'm willing and I'm anxious to see if Zaccharie Risacher show up to the basketball game and we get the matchup that we want to see. I believe the last time we seen Zaccharie Risacher early last season, Matas Buzelis did not play. Or if he did play, he did not receive a lot of playing time because at that particular moment, at the early parts of last season, Billy Donovan and the coaching staff had Matas Buzelis on a developmental game plan. But now Matas Buzelis is a guy who's now a starter for the Chicago Bulls. And I'm anxious to see if we can get this matchup from two guys in the same draft class that clearly don't like each other. And I'm all for it. I'm a competitor. I don't give a damn if we playing checkers. I want to win. I don't care if we playing Connect Four. I want to win. The only time I take a breather is when I'm sitting right there and just letting the kids be kids and letting them do what they do. But the competitiveness in me We don't watching my son play football, and he only playing with the second and third graders. You know what I'm saying? At this point in time, I want my son to win. That's just me. That's just me. So why on God's green earth would I not want to see a matchup versus Matas Buzelis and Zaccharie Risacher when Matas Buzelis told this man, I'm better at you in life. That's the type of smoke that I want to see. And I think that what adds fuel to this fire, or what adds more intriguing thoughts to this matchup, potential matchup later today, is Matas Buzelis just fouled out versus the Orlando Magic. And while he walked off, got smacked on the ass by Billy Donovan and told him to go sit down, Matas Buzelis was smiling. Yeah, my boy. I love the way you talk your stuff, Matas Buzelis. I love the way you bring that mindset to win in front of the cameras and talking like a seasoned veteran. But this is a matchup to where, my boy, you was talking crazy. So we trying to see, or at least I'm trying to see, if Matas Buzelis looked at the Orlando Magic film and said, damn, I played some really bad basketball and I did not receive a good opportunity to show the Orlando Magic what I'm truly made of. So I think that if this matchup is to happen later tonight, I think it's going to be a really good one. And I think Matas Buzelis, after being benched in the last game, not being able to help his team get that victory as much as he wanted to, he comes out with a different type of mindset times two, because not only did he go sit out of the Orlando Magic game for most of that game, but now he got extra motivation because he got the player on the other side that he told, I'm better at life than you. What more intrigue do you need? I'm interested in intriguing things. If it don't intrigue me, I'm not necessarily interested in that type of stuff, depending on what it is. It's basketball, football. We going out to an event with the family. I'm kicking it with some of y'all that are, we trying to go ahead and link up with. Hey, if it's not intriguing, it ain't for me. I tell you what is for me though. This matchup that I want to see right here. This is the matchup we want to see. Now, for the Chicago Bulls, it's not just about Matas and Zaccharie Risacher. Let's make that clear. I think the Chicago Bulls still need to go out there and handle business. Josh Giddey, last game, 21-8. I think last game, Josh Giddey, if guys hit their shot, could have had 21-8-8. You know what I'm talking about? The other 8 is the assists. I think he only had 3 assists versus the Orlando Magic. And I think that he can go out there and really, add on to a good start of the season, because I think Josh Giddey has started this season well. I'm interested to see how Trey Jones handles Trae Young, because I think that's going to be the matchup to watch as both of those teams starting lineups match up well. And then we got Papa Ayo Dosunmu sliding to the game to say hi to one of his kids. I'm just saying, rock the baby. Maybe Ayo Dosunmu got to share custody with Trey Jones. We shall see. I'm just saying, we shall see. This is a game that I think is very, very winnable for the Chicago Bulls, but obviously you cannot count wins in this league as being a for sure thing, because guys can come out hot on any given night. Guys can come out and do things a little bit better than you on any given night. So the Chicago Bulls got to come in focused. They had a days of rest, and they have an opportunity right in front of them to go out there and get another win for the start of this early season. So that matchup with Matas Buzelis and Zaccharie Risacher, I am very, very intrigued. But hey, while we was talking about Josh Giddey, we do have to give you an update regarding Josh Giddey and a injury that he sustained in the last game. And we kind of took notice to that early on, to where he was grabbing at his finger on his hand. And hey, my man Steve-O, me, C-Dub, we was all on the live call. We was like, hey, bro, you're going to have to tape that thing up for sure. So Josh Giddey is dealing with a small injury to his finger right now, listed as questionable to see. I'm pretty much sure that is just probably swollen at this given time. And I think that that's something that, he's going to have to see if he can tolerate, if he has a good pain tolerance, if that finger is swollen, just to give it a little bit more time. One thing that you don't want is to have Josh Giddey go out there and sprain the finger and then, further exacerbate the injury. So You hoping that he's going to be doing well. You hope he's going to be ready to go because the Chicago Bulls absolutely need him on that basketball court because I think he opens up so many things for the Chicago Bulls. So we'll keep you all, you know, informed on the status of Josh Giddey as the days goes on. But as of right now, it seems like he's going to play tonight. But if he does not play tonight, hey, guys still got to step up and go play good basketball, man. We shall see what happens. I anticipate Josh Giddey playing, but you never know with so many injuries. And then you know that sometimes when you sprain, muscles within the fingers or in the hands or in the wrist, those things could be a little tricky. And sometimes you can even, damage, some muscle or some nerves in there to that could potentially require some type of surgery. So we shall see what happens with Josh Giddey and his finger injury. Now, before we get up out of here, I want to ask a question to you all, and I want you guys to answer. Is the Bulls bench deeper than what we expected? Is it deeper than what we expected? Because in the first game of the season, I believe the Chicago Bulls had three players come off the bench and, give the Chicago Bulls double figures. That game, you had Ayo Sumo, and then in the last game, you had Patrick Williams, Ayo Sumo, and then Jalen Smith come off the bench also and give you good minutes off the bench for the Chicago Bulls. In fact, last game, I believe the Chicago Bulls had 3 or 4 players in double figures off the bench. And I think that right now, the team looks pretty well put together. You know what I'm saying? As much as that we criticize the Bulls front office, and as much as we, looked at Arturas Karnisovas and Billy Donovan and saying, hey, what is the nature of this team? What is the image? What is our identity? I think that we're leaning further into trying to, really put that on display. And right now, the Chicago Bulls bench, you got guys like Ayo Sumo. When Kobe White returns, you will get Trey Jones, who has played well through 2 games thus far, back to the bench, and that's going to look really good. Last game, you was able to get Julian Phillips to come in and give you solid minutes. I think on any given night, you can, if Julian Phillips doesn't have it going, you could probably lean on Dalen Terry just a little bit to provide you with, some type of meaningful minutes. I think right now, with the way that it's looking, those guys are going to be going back and forth on any given night until one of them guys, that's Dalen Terry and Julian Phillips, starts to separate themselves to where Billy Donovan trusts that said player a little bit more than the other. I think last year when we looked at the situation in the second half of the season, I think Dalen Terry earned a lot of trust with Billy Donovan in that regard. And I think that right now, Billy Donovan is going to try his best to just kind of feel things out. And then I got to give love to Patrick Williams, bro. I know we looked at Patrick Williams and looked at him like a disappointment, especially because he was selected 4th overall for the Chicago Bulls in his draft. But I think that for the first 2 games, you're seeing a more aggressive Patrick Williams. Patrick Williams, it don't seem like he's thinking much out there anymore. It seems like Patrick Williams is making the right play defensively. And on the offensive side, it seems that Patrick Williams is, either going to the basket or trying to make the right play. And that's the Patrick Williams that we need moving forward. It is not the end all be all. It is not going to, change our perception in just 2 games. But I think that a Patrick Williams that we've been looking at for the first 2 games of the season is better for the Chicago Bulls. And I hope that Patrick Williams has, taking that really to heart on how disappointing last season was and how disappointing up into, 2 games ago. It ain't been much positivity to say about Patrick Williams, but I will give him credit because I was one of the critics of Patrick Williams and saying, bro, what do you do well right now? Because it looks like your defense is regressing. Your offense is kind of there, but not necessarily consistent enough. And in 2 games this season, again, not the end all be all, but you look like you are in better position to help this Chicago Bulls team. So we'll see what Patrick Williams brings to the team. We'll see what Patrick Williams is going to continue to do throughout the entire season. But as of right now, Patrick Williams has been good for the Chicago Bulls, at least for now. We shall see how long it lasts, or if Patrick Williams has turned a new leaf. Maybe new flowers in the building. We shall see. And then Jalen Smith, after having not so good game one and game two, Jalen Smith took 2 threes, knocked both of those down, and a lot more of his points came from, in the painted area or just right outside of that area. And I believe he went 6 of 8 on Saturday. And I think that is the formula to get Jalen Smith to play a lot better. I think that he needs to be an inside man and work inside to out, not outside in. And I think that'll be much better for the Chicago Bulls backup center until Zach Collins come back. And then once Zach Collins come back, that helps everything else even more. So I think that when guys come back from injury, we shall be looking at this Bulls bench as being one of the better benches of the NBA. Maybe not the top 5 or, the top bench, but it should be a respectable enough. It should be respectable enough to where we can look at the bench and say, hey, if the starters are not playing well, Billy Donovan can lean on some of those guys to come off the bench to provide the Chicago Bulls with some extra support to either push a lead forward, maintain a lead, or try to, close the gap in a deficit. So we shall see how that all plays out. But I think as of right now, the Bulls bench looks really good. And I think this is something that they can lean on throughout the season, as Artur has pretty much said that. And a lot of people scoffed at it. Not necessarily me, but I seen people scoff at the idea that Artur has wanted to create a team that can go 10 deep. You know what I'm saying? Simply because the changes with the CBA and the second apron that teams necessarily don't want to go over and things like that. So we look at a lot of people scoffed at that idea. But as of right now, through 2 games, it is not the end all be all. I gotta keep saying it because some people gonna be like, "Well, you act like you didn't." No, we gonna make sure that we are just understanding that we are 2 games in, and this bench look like it's a good support system for the starting 5. So, and I think it can only get better once Kobe White returns, once Zach Collins returns, because on that bench now you're getting Tre Jones, who can come in and stagger some minutes with him and Kobe White, to where Tre Jones can be lined up next to Josh Giddey at certain points, and then you can depend on Kobe White to operate with Tre Jones and Ayo Dosunmu at some point. And I think that'll be good. And alongside Zach Collins, I think he had a really good preseason. And I know that he's going to be able to give the Chicago Bulls something similarly to what Jalen Smith gave the Chicago Bulls in their second matchup versus the Orlando Magic. And there's going to be a lot of more things that you can move around and you can look at with Julian Phillips, with Patrick Williams, with Ayo Dosunmu all still being there for the bench of the Chicago Bulls. Tough decisions on the way, but that's very, very premature conversation about what to do with Ayo Dosunmu and other guys that that are due for a contract in 2026. So, but as of right now, let's enjoy the moment. Let's see if these boys can go out there and go 3-0. I'm predicting that we do go 3-0, and we'll be talking about another Bulls victory as long as they take care of business. But that is it for me today, y'all. I appreciate y'all for tuning in to another episode of Shy Bulls Podcast. Before y'all get up out of here, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell as well, man. We appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all always see red, and y'all already know. We're going to catch y'all on the next one for sure.
Cognac. Gang.